Today, we're diving into a massive paradox that's happening in tech right now. You see, companies are throwing billions of dollars at AI, but almost none of them are seeing a real return on that investment. So, what's the secret? Let's break down why so many are failing, and more importantly, how the very few succeed.
Okay, first, let's just get a sense of the scale we're talking about here. This isn't a small trend. The global AI market is on track to hit a mind-boggling $391 billion in 2025. That is a tidal wave of investment, a huge bet that AI is the future. But this is where the story takes a very sharp turn. Because for all that money, all that optimism, a shocking 95% of generative AI projects are failing to create any real, meaningful revenue growth. Just let that sink in. That means for every 20 companies trying this, 19 of them are falling flat. So what is going on here? Why is there this huge gap between all the investment and the actual results?
Well, this whole situation actually has a name. It's called the productivity paradox. And you know what? It's not the first time we've seen this. It's almost the exact same thing that happened back in the 1980s when computers first started showing up in offices. Companies spent a ton on the new tech, but it took years before they saw any real gains in productivity. And right now, AI is having its own little paradox moment.
And you know, the problem isn't that people aren't trying. Far from it. A huge 78% of companies around the world are already using AI, and a whopping 71% are deploying generative AI specifically. So the technology is in their hands, but the profit just isn't showing up. This disconnect, right here, is the absolute core of the problem we're digging into.
So the big question is, how do you solve a paradox like this? Well, the answer isn't just a better tool or a fancier algorithm. It's a completely different way of thinking. It's about moving away from this old model that's clearly not working and really embracing a new paradigm.
And here's what that looks like. Over on the left, you've got the old way, treating AI as just an add-on. This is kind of like trying to bolt a jet engine onto an old horse-drawn carriage. Sure, you've added a new feature, but you're just tacking it onto an old system. On the right, though, that's the new paradigm, becoming AI native. This means designing your entire company, your workflows, your products, everything, with AI at the absolute core, right from the very beginning.
Now, to make this huge shift to becoming AI native, you need the right set of tools. It's not just about changing your mindset. You need to change your technology too. And there are really three core components that make an AI-native enterprise actually possible.
First up on the list, AI agents. And listen, these are not your simple chatbots that can only answer basic questions. No. These are autonomous programs that can actually plan, use other tools, and learn from experience to achieve really complex goals. You should think of them as the intelligent digital workers of an AI-native company.
And what they can do is pretty transformative. I mean, just imagine agents handling your most complex customer service tickets around the clock, automatically finding and reaching out to sales leads, sifting through thousands of resumes in minutes, or even optimizing your entire supply chain in real time. This is where those massive efficiency gains really come from.
The second tool, federated AI, is like the guardian of your company's data. So instead of having to move all your sensitive information to a central server to train an AI, the AI model actually learns locally on the devices themselves. Only the lessons learned get shared, never the private data. And this, as you can imagine, is absolutely essential for industries like healthcare or finance, where privacy is everything.
And finally, the third piece of the puzzle is the AI operating system, or AIOS. If those agents we talked about are the workers, then the AIOS is the central nervous system. It's the critical infrastructure that brings together and coordinates every single AI component across the entire company.
You know, the perfect way to think about an AIOS is like the conductor of an orchestra. It's the conductor's job to make sure every instrument, every single AI component, is playing in perfect harmony to achieve one unified business goal. Without that conductor, you just have noise and chaos, which, when you think about it, is exactly why so many AI projects fail.
Okay, that's a lot of theory. But does this stuff actually work in the real world? Let's take a look at a case study of a company that is having real success by putting these AI-native principles into practice.
So, meet Dozone AI. They have a service called One AI, and you can basically think of it as a private chat GPT for businesses. Now, the key thing here is that it connects directly to a company's own internal private data. This makes it secure and super relevant. And, well, the market is loving it. More than 3,200 companies were already using it by early 2025.
So what was the result? A clear, measurable, honest-to-goodness return on investment. By using an AI that was specialized on their own internal data, accounting teams were able to cut their report writing time in half. That's not some vague promise of future gains. That is a concrete, immediate impact on the business.
Okay, so how can you actually apply these lessons? Here's a pretty straightforward roadmap to help you start your own journey toward becoming AI native and hopefully joining that successful 5%.
The roadmap kicks off with strategic alignment. You can't just build AI for the sake of it. You have to link it to a clear business goal. Next up, data preparedness. This is a big one. Your AI is only ever as good as the data it learns from. Then, you've got to launch a pilot program. Test things out, validate, and learn in a small, controlled way before you go big. And finally, and this is so important, focus on culture and talent. This is a human challenge just as much as it is a technical one.
And you know, once you've mastered this whole AI native approach, the evolution doesn't just stop there. The next great leap that's coming up on the horizon is combining AI with quantum computing. These hybrid systems could solve problems that are currently impossible for even the most powerful supercomputers, opening up brand new frontiers for business.
And all of this brings us to the one question you really should take back to your own organization. Are you simply adding AI to your old processes? Or are you fundamentally rethinking your entire business to become truly AI native? Because the answer to that question is probably what's going to determine if you land in the 95% that fail or the 5% that succeed.